Do this and then this.
Live from New York.
It's Saturday
Martin
night!
Eiden team.
All right, everybody. Today is a powerhouse, exciting Ask the Expert, because we are now proclaiming ourselves. Oh, we're live on Facebook right now. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Expert. Today is very exciting. It is the post-election real estate wrap-up of what's going on here in New York and in LA. As you can see, I'm outside here. Just finished showing a few properties on the Upper West Side. So I'm excited to see what's going on. So first and foremost, our panelists are Alex Magoob. Say hi to the crowd, Alex.
Hi, everybody. Excited to be here and share some intel about the marketplace.
Absolutely. And we have Sean Wilson, also a team member at large. Sean, say hi to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
We have Jared, who's our Director of Operations and Marketing, managing everything. Say hi, Jared.
Hey, everybody.
And we are also going to be having Whit Prouty, our LA guy, come on in a couple of minutes. He is working feverishly on a deal as we speak, so he will not be able to join us. So, Sean, let me start with you. First and foremost, what was the energy of the city pre-election? What is the energy of the city now? And how do you think that's going to affect real estate?
Well, I think that the energy pre-election was sort of jitters and very stressful. And I think now people are a bit more relaxed. I just think I didn't realize even myself how much this meant to me or how much I was carrying around. And I just think overall people are relieved. So I would say the energy of the city at this moment is a huge sense of relief.
Good, good. And then have you seen more showings of properties? Has it been about the same? Or what's
I will definitely say the properties that I'm on, there has been a tick up in showings. More people are coming out to see properties.
Okay, that sounds great. So Alex, I'm going to ask you the same thing, but I want to first touch base with you. Kind of looking a little bit back at the team's October. So traditionally, there's what's called election jitters. And everybody's on the sidelines and nothing really happens. Our team did take some listings off the market because it was slow. But was it a completely dead month, or were there buyers that were out there and did some contracts go out on listings?
Yeah, that's a great question. Historically, October is always a slow month. And this year, I thought it was going to be super slow because we were dealing with maybe the most contentious election of our lifetime. But to your point, Martin, shockingly, we did deals in October. I think buyers who had been in the market for 3 months, 6 months, who had seen enough property to make a decision, felt confident to act because they knew they weren't buying this to sell it next year or next month. They're buying a home and they're going to live there 3, 5, 7, 10 years. And the buyers that saw enough felt confident enough to make decisions. So we actually had a really great October. But to Sean's point, there were many buyers who kept saying, I'm waiting. And I'd say, what are you waiting for? And they'd say, I want to know if I need to move to Canada or not. So it wasn't, this was the first time I think that we had to work with clients who weren't sure if they even wanted to live in America, let alone New York City. So, the activity and the excitement, the energy this week, right from Saturday at 1 p.m., the city has been electric. People feel happier and a sense of relief has taken over, and it feels great.
That's great.
I just want to add to what Alex is saying, and it's sort of about New York. And right now, at this moment, there is no other place in the world I would rather be than New York City and New York State. Because of COVID, because of the politics, this is the absolute best place in the world to be. Second to, runner up or tied with California. But those are the two places that you can rest assured you are going to be cared for by your government, and people are going to respect themselves and do what needs to sort of curb the pandemic. So the two places I'd live are definitely New York State, New York City, California State, and LA.
Very good.
Literally, Sean, I just said the same thing to another client of mine. There's no place I'd rather be right now than New York City.
Yeah, I mean, it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's it. So basically, we are, and I would agree. We put some properties back on. I put two properties on Monday, and one of those properties, this is where I am now. I had 4 showings on a $2.5 million property. If you want the terrace, it's suddenly 3.15. And oh, by the way, you have to build the terrace, so that's another $500,000, right? 4 people are buying for it. So buyers are back, things are happening, momentum is here. So every election cycle we see a delayed fall cycle, but I think here it's a breath. And look, the reality is New York City is a liberal town, and they're very happy that Biden won. It's a breath of fresh air, and it's carrying through.
So I want to
just
just
say
ask,
something.
Yeah, I want to ask you and Alex something, because you guys are a bit more often in the thick of things than I am. Do you see a sort of a breakdown price according to price as to people coming out? I mean, I know I have something in the $200,000 mark, and I'm getting very little action on it, very little. And I would assume like, oh, this is a good price point, people are out. Do you think that what's the level of interest according to price?
I'll chime in on that. And to your point, Sean, I think we are seeing more weakness in the bottom part of the market, or the lower end of the market. I have something listed in Hell's Kitchen right now, a 1-bedroom, right under 500K. 2-3 years ago, I feel like it would have sold already. But, we've been on for about 6 weeks. Traffic's been very light. And the argument that I would make is that buyer who's looking, they're a first-time home buyer, they're looking for a purchase maybe up to 500K, they've been really impacted tremendously by the soft economy. They're really concerned. Maybe they lost a job. Maybe, they're not sure about their job security. So I think those buyers are waiting to see what happens with the economy. Yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
then
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the buyers who are, more in the white collar jobs, who can work from home and have been, they're actually saving money. They're not going on crazy vacations and all these crazy dinners and all this stuff. They're not getting takeout, they're cooking at home. They're saving money, and they're looking at their lives and thinking, I want a backyard for my kids. So I think the buyers who are looking 1.5 and above, they're much stronger buyers. And if anything, they might actually have more money now than they ever did before.
Yeah, that's true.
I would agree with that. I mean, it's very interesting. We're getting, so the apartment I'm showing today for 2.5 needs about $600,000 worth of work. So that's a 3.1 price. I had 4 showings today. And if you want to add the terrace, it's almost another $1 million by the time you're in. Townhouses that Alex and I are on, it's asking $9 million and $4.5 million, and they each need between $2 to $4 million. And Alex, we're showing that 4 or 5 times a week, right?
Yeah. And to comment about those buyers, each townhouse is listed for 4.5, and then there's an option of buying both together for $9 million. Those buyers I found are looking as if like nothing's going on. If anything, they're excited. They're excited to buy a property and spend $2 million to make it their dream home. Where I have buyers looking at a $1 million property and they have to pay $10,000 to fix the HVAC. And they're like, oh my God, I can't,
Yeah.
And it's like, we're living in such a crazy, high anxiety, fearful time that they don't have the courage to act. But now with Biden winning, giving people confidence that we still live in a democracy. And now that there's talk of a vaccine, I think people moving forward are going to have a lot more confidence to make a decision, to commit to something and bring the money and put it out on the table and buy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, you know, you heard it here first. New York City is on sale now, and the selection is great. I promise you, come January, February, everything that you saw and liked on your search aggregator, hopefully it was the Compass one, is going to be in contract. So, you know, get off the fence and start making some moves. And I will say, I had 2 savvy buyers that have accepted offers pre-election, and they would not get, they've already made $100,000 each just by stepping up a week in advance.
But to Alex's point, those buyers, I mean, just I was thinking about them when you were speaking, Alex, that they're in that $1.5 million range, and they were talking about, oh, we've saved money, we haven't gone out to eat, we've been cooking at home every meal, and life is a little different for people who are in that price point than people who are the first time buyer in a lower price point, which is a very interesting thing that you don't think about, how that you think that market is still strong because the price point is low, but that market has been critically hit by just what you said, Alex. It makes so much sense. I didn't even think about it before, but makes a lot of sense that market is softer because of your job security on a job that's paying you $50,000 a year or 60, whatever the number is the job security is not as high as something, where you're making
right. Well,
high
I mean,
six figures.
I wanted to chime in and say, look, I mean, one of the realities of New York is the high down payment at any price point, right? So the rest of the country, $500,000, they're asking for 3% down, right? Here in New York, it's 20%. That's what people need to put down. And, suddenly that's $100,000. But I have found a lot of, first-time buyers candidly go to their parents and say, look, can you help me with a down payment? And that's really, I think it's a smart play because I'm not a financial person, but a lot of people are saying the stock market is overheated and New York City is on sale. Alex loves to quote Warren Buffett all the time.
I was just about to.
What's the quote? What's the
I
quote?
was waiting
The
for
quote.
my chance. You want the
you
quote?
can say it, Alex. It is.
All
You're
right.
going to say the quote that I was going to say.
Oh, no. I'll give you the floor.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's a different quote, you say something different then. The quote that I had is the stock market is the one thing that when it's on sale, nobody buys.
So
New
I have
York
another
City
one. Yeah.
Go ahead,
So
Alex.
mine is it's from Warren Buffett, and it has to deal with investing, right? Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. The time to jump into the market is not when things are going crazy high. It's the time when no one's buying and people are scared, and you're the only person looking at the apartment. If you have money in the stock market and you've done well, pull it out and put it in the real estate market and then double your money,
Well, I will say the time to buy in New York City is now. I tell my people that are looking, like, I can't say what is going to happen 2 months from now or a year from now. I don't know where prices will be, but I can certainly say right now it's on sale. You're getting it for less than what you would have gotten it for 3 months ago, 5 months ago, a year ago, certainly.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, retrospectively, the height of the market was 2013 to 2017. 2019 was the biggest correction we had. It bottomed out first quarter of this year. And then the pandemic brought prices down again, another 5-10%. It's an incredible time to buy. So Alex, what advice do you have for sellers if somebody is thinking about selling now? And everybody has their own crystal ball and will have something different. Is it a good idea to sell now, or do you wait till the spring market, or do you wait 3 years, or how does it work?
Well, for any seller, I think the first question would be, why do you want to sell? If it's to make a lot of money, this may not be the right time, okay? But if you need to move on with your life and selling your place is a requirement to do that, then yes, absolutely, let's list it. I would say beyond, coming to terms with why you want to sell, it's coming to terms with the reality of the market. Because your neighbor got XYZ price in 2017 means nothing today. And if you hire a real estate professional, trust that they have the information, the data, the comparable sales, and that they want to be successful for you. So if they tell you the pricing and you don't agree with it, all right, work with another broker, but know that your place is not going to sell. You know, as brokers, it is our job to give you the truth, like a doctor. You know, if you come in and you're sick, you know, and you have cancer, you don't want the doctor to say, oh, yeah, you know, we'll list it for $2 million, even though it's worth 1.5. Someone will buy it. Oh, the cancer doesn't matter. You'll be fine. No, you want someone to give you a real accurate picture of pricing, and you want to price right in line with the market or even slightly below. You don't want to be an overpriced listing and people are like, they're crazy. You know, and the third thing I would say is the home needs to look perfect. If you need to if you need to paint, if you need to, you know, remove some belongings and declutter, and maybe we need to come in and do some staging. Homes that look great and are priced well sell.
Thank you.
I'll
I
echo.
agree.
I will echo that.
So Marty,
Even on the West Coast.
Yeah, I wanted to look perfect, but I was just going to segue to you. So everybody, we've got Whit Prouty, our
Hey,
LA
welcome,
expert,
Whit.
with us.
Thanks, guys.
welcome.
And appropriately, Whit's in the car.
I'm in the car because I'm in Los Angeles. Where do you find realtors? In their cars.
So Whit, tell us a little bit about and then you came on a few minutes late, but what was what was the market pre-election like in October? Was it a wait and see with buyers and sellers, and what is the energy level now?
Actually, yeah, this is a tale of two cities because we have a different story on the West Coast. We haven't reached our bottom. We're still going up, and we really haven't had a bottom. Our market as well too, right before the election, was still moving. We were still moving product. I put 2 properties in escrow right before the election. We had inspections on election day. Very different than everyone's expectations. Most expectations are that the market softens 6 to 8 weeks out from an election, depending on the outcome of that election. If it's favorable to the geographic area, then you do get an uptick in sales. If it's not favorable, at least from the outlook of that geographic area, then usually there is an uptick, but it's delayed until the beginning of the year, January or February. This year, COVID, low interest rates, people wanting to make more life decisions, didn't seem to pay attention to what consensus has been throughout history in real estate, and continued to transact business and move forward with sales and purchases. So that's a very different story.
Wow. So
But you said a tale of two
purposes,
cities. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
well, I think he's referring to LA versus New York, not
Yes.
LA up and LA down.
Oh, got it.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
LA and New York.
So basically the election didn't have any impact at all. There was no slowdown. It was business as usual.
Amazingly, I think there was anticipation that we would see a slowdown, but if there was, it was ever so slight, because people did continue to transact business. We continued to see our escrow companies putting new transactions into escrow. So
So,
very
Whit, I have
different, very different time.
yeah, no, interesting. And I have a follow-up question now. Was we talked earlier, kind of in our last roundtable that we had, which that single-family homes were selling quite well in LA, but one of the soft spots were condos where there was shared elevators, hallways, amenities. Is that still a value area for people in LA, or?
So it's yes, I would absolutely say that's your one value area, exactly, where there is still some opportunity. We're seeing some of those condos start to go into escrow now, more than they were. However, that part of the market is still, well, for lack of a better word, depressed a little bit compared to single families. Single families are still more desirable than the condos.
Okay, that makes that's interesting. So, if you wanted some value there, that would be something to consider. Sorry about that, guys. I had a call come in and I forgot to mute my phone. All right, cool. So what is your projection, Alex, of from here until like the end of the first quarter, and then what do you see outside of that?
I think this time, the next 3 months between the transition from Trump to Biden and a possible wave 2 really taking a toll across America, I think there's like a nice 3 to 4 week window here where people who are really interested in doing deals and buying, and for sellers that really need to sell who've been trying, there's a nice window here where deals will happen. And my prediction, I don't know about every deal between now and the end of Q1, but I believe the bottom is in for New York City. And I think things are going to move up from here. And to your point earlier about single family homes, this is a big market. You have different price points, you have different property types. There's one subset of the market that's been on fire, and I don't see that changing whatsoever. That is the Brooklyn townhouse market. I see things going to contract in 2 to 4 weeks. I see them get multiple offers, full ask offers, offers above the asking, whereas properties in large buildings, 300-unit buildings, could you walk in there and put in 10% off the ask offer and get it? Probably. So the market is very specific, and I think people should be looking at buying things that they love, that they care about, knowing that they're going to stay there for a long time. They're going to do really well. Let me just say one last thing. It's tough making a decision when things are scary, but I think using history as an example can be helpful. And what I've been saying to buyers for a few months is this. After 9/11, those that bought real estate in New York City made money. Those who bought real estate after the 2008 financial crisis in New York City, they made money. My question is this: what do you think will happen with the people who buy real estate in New York City now during this 2020 pandemic time? My feeling is they're going to make lots of money. So if you're looking, you need to buy, you found something you love, buy it.
Great. Now, one thing I wanted to touch on, and then I want to go back to Whit after we talk to Sean. We only have a few minutes left. So, Sean, what about the second wave of COVID? What is your feeling? What is the pulse of New York City? I mean, I think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when the second wave hits. How is the city going to react? And what's your take on it?
Well, I think the biggest advantage for the city this time versus last time is that we know what to expect. And I think that's going to have a huge effect on how we react to it. So I don't think it will be as severe as the first time. I think our second wave will be relatively mild. And I'm saying relatively in accordance to what it was when we had no idea what was going on. So I think people in New York will still go out. I think people will still go out to buy. I think we will see relatively mild changes. I think people are gonna still come out and buy real estate in New York City.
Okay, that makes sense. And Whit, and in this, for this matter, Jared, what about LA and second wave, and what's the impact that you guys foresee?
Well, second wave seems to not be as huge a concern here. It certainly is. I don't think that anybody is taking it lightly. We're still certainly seeing lots of reminders out there through our the alerts that you get on your phone. Hey, be careful, make sure you wear your mask, make sure you wash your hands, make sure you socially distant. All of those kinds of things are still extremely important in Los Angeles. But as far as impacting our market, California Association of Realtors is still forecasting that for 2020, our home sale prices will be up over 7% for the year.
Wow.
That is during COVID. They're also projecting that in 2021, that we're going to see somewhere between a slower gain, but a 1% to 2% gain over 2020. So,
Wow.
and they're projecting 3.3% transaction volume increase 2021 over 2020. So,
I'm
like I
moving
said,
to California.
it's a pretty positive.
We need to move to LA, Alex.
That's
Yeah, I'm
not
moving.
true.
Come on in, the water's fine.
That is true, but it's not true that we should move to LA because you guys are doing very well here in New York City.
Oh, we are actually. We are.
I mean, I don't know
Best
how
year yet.
other agents are doing, but as a team, a collective team, we are doing extremely well.
The Martin Eiden team is on fire
Wow, that's
in
true.
a good way.
So Jared,
Yeah.
Jared, why don't you chime in? You're our quote unquote man on the streets. What's kind of the pulse that you get with your friends about, life in general?
I mean, yeah, so there's definitely like the wariness. Like, I think we're in like a generation and a state that truly cares for the scientific community and what they say. So, we abide by the rules, but there are occasions when you get stir crazy. So you want to go out and at least like have brunch with your friend. So like that's still here. And
Or
that's
multiple
still,
Halloween parties, but we won't talk about that.
yeah, right. But like, the outdoor dining is available. And the great thing about California versus New York is that it's not going to get as cold here, right? So we can do that more year round. So people are
Outdoor heaters work.
Yeah.
Outdoor heaters keep you warm, and you still have air without having to have a bubble.
right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean,
Very
I'd say, as far as like energy and like, what people are saying is, we're obviously nobody's happy to be in this situation, but we're dealing with it. And, the sooner we can return to some sense of normal, the better. But until then, let's just buckle down and, get what we need to get done.
So, something that I
Very
heard
cool.
recently, I know we have to finish, is that this pandemic moment has changed all of our lives forever. Similar to 9/11, we have to take off our shoes and like get to the airport way early and all this kind of stuff. But we manage, we cope, we move on. Life moves on. It's okay. It's going to be okay, everybody. Stay positive. Stay hopeful. We are in America.
Right.
All right. Well, with that, we can't top that. So thanks again, everybody, for coming in with Ask the Expert with the Martin Eiden team. And the Martin Eiden team was here today with Sean Wilson, Alex Magoob, Whit Prouty, and Jared Salinas-Dick. So thanks a lot, guys. It was a great session.
Cool. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
All right.